Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Chapter 10, Day 3. So, we're going to do a little bit more with our factoring and get a little bit more into this. So, we want to look at factoring and finding what polynomials were multiplied together to give this answer. And so when I look at what polynomials were multiplied together, I've got two methods I can do that. I can take out the greatest common factor, and that's going to give a result of a monomial by polynomial. Okay? So, it's important that I write down what I divide by to do that. So I have to figure out what these two terms have in common. And I want to pick my largest number that I can divide by. So I can divide this by 6. Can I divide 18 by 6? I sure can. So 6 is a number that I'm going to divide by. Now what about my m's? There's 8 m's in here and 4 m's in here. I can't divide these 4 m's by 8 because I'll have leftovers. But I can divide these 8 m's by 4. So I'm going to take out 4 m's. And what about p's? Well, I have 3 p's here and 7 here. So I'm going to take out 3. And then what about q's? I have 1 q here and 2 q's here. So I'm going to take out 1 q. So out of both of these terms, I'm going to take out a 6m to the 4th p cubed q. Okay? And what am I going to get? Well, I'm going to get my monomial that I divided by. I'm going to apply my Chapter 8 rules here, and I'm going to figure out what my answer is going to be. Well, my 6's will cancel. My m's, I'm going to get 8 minus 4, so I'm going to have m to the 4th. My p's, I have p to the 3rd, p to the 3rd. Those will cancel. And my q's are going to cancel. So that's it for this first term. Okay, now I'm going to divide negative 18 by 6. Well, I'm going to get negative 3. My m's are going to cancel. They're the same. Here I have 7 p's and 3 p's, so I'm going to have 4 p's left over. The 7 minus, 3 p's left over. 7 minus 4 is 3. And here I have 2 on this q and 1 q here. I'm going to divide, so one of my q's is going to cancel, and I'll have 1 q left, and that's my answer. Okay? So when I multiply this back in, I'll get my original answer. Okay, you try that one. You can check the answer in school with you. Method 2 to take out my greatest common factor is, I would take out my greatest common factor if I can, and then I would use box and diamond. So I need to set up my diamond, and remember this is A times C, and this is B. And I need to set up my box. And remember this is A, and this is C, and then this is going to be the results of these. Okay? A times C, and it adds to your B. So this is plus B. Okay. So, what's my A? What's my C? My 2 is my A, and I'm going to multiply that by negative 4. I'm going to get negative 8 here. My B is 7. Now remember, we had some rules about what my signs were going to be here, which were really, really important. So if I multiply to a negative and I add to a positive, I multiply to a negative and I add to a positive, my numbers are going to be what? They're going to be different. If I add to a positive, whatever my bigger factor is needs to be the positive number. So how do I do my box? Well, my 2x squared goes in here, and my c goes down here. And now I'm all set up. Now I need to find the factors of negative 8. What numbers multiply to negative 8? Well, 1 times 8, 2 times 4, 3 times nothing, 4 times 2, that's a repeat, so I'm done. Okay, so which ones add to 7? 2 plus 4 doesn't add to 7, and 2 minus 4 doesn't add to 7. But 1 and 8, since I'm subtracting here, I have two different signs, is going to get to 7. Remember I said my bigger number, because this is positive, needs to be the positive. So my 8 is positive, and my 1 is negative. Now, 8 minus 1, does that get 7? Sure does. Okay, these now transfer over here. And I can put them any place, but I do want to put my x in. Negative 1x. Okay, I put my x's in here. All right, so now, last day 1, I was filling my box. Day 2, I'm emptying my box. So what numbers going up do they have in common? What number can I divide 2x squared by and 8x? Well, I can divide both of them by 2. What about my x's? How many x's can I divide both of them by? An x. Okay. What about going out? I can divide both of them by an x, but that's it. And how do I know that? Because 2x times x gives me 2x squared. Right? Right. So, now I need to do this and this. So I can start with wherever I want. I can decide what I can take out of here. What can I divide both these by? 4. Okay. Now I need to decide, is this a positive 4 or a negative 4? So I do that by taking my 2x and multiplying it by my 4. 2x times 4 will give me positive 8x. That's what it's supposed to give me. Fantastic. So this is a plus 4. So therefore, what does this have to be? Well, it has to be a negative 1 because to get this, a negative 1x, I need to do negative 1 times x gives me negative 1x. And also, negative 1 times positive 4 gives me negative 4. And I'm done. So now I need to write my answer. My answer is 2x minus 1 times x plus 4. Could I write that in the other order? Could I write x plus 4 times 2x minus 1? I sure could. In fact, maybe on the answer key I might have it backwards or the other way. It doesn't matter which way you write it. Now sometimes I need to first do some math before I start. So in here, what do you notice that 5x squared plus 20x plus 20 have in common? They all have a 5. I can divide all of these by 5. Not any x's, but I can divide them by 5. So I'm going to get 5 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now I'm going to factor that. So I'm going to do box and diamond for that, and I am going to have you do that. But remember when you write your answer, you've got 5 times whatever your binomial is. So you want to write down both of the parts of that and go from there. Just realize on your answer key, I gave you this, but it didn't give you the factored portion of that. So maybe I'll work this one out with you instead. Okay, so I'm doing x squared plus 4x plus 4. What's my a times c? My a times my c. is going to be 4, right? Yep. 4x squared really, but I don't keep the x squared in here. Okay. What is my b? It's going to be 4 also. Okay. So I'm looking for the factors of 4 that add to 4. So factors of 4. I've got 1 and 4. Will that add to 4? No. And I've got 2 and 2. Will those add to 4? They sure will. Because if this is positive and this is positive, oops, then both of these need to be positive, and I can have 2 and 2. Let's fill our box. Our A is x squared. Our C is 4, and our 2x goes here, and our 2x goes here. Okay? So when I take out, what can I take out going up? I can take out an x. What can I take out going to the left? I can take out an x. X times x gives me x squared. X times what gives me 2x? 2. Positive. What can I take out of the bottom here? 2x and 4. What can I divide that by? 2. And it's also going to be positive. So I get x plus 2 and x plus 2. That 5 comes along for the ride because we took it out originally. And that's my answer. Okay. I'm going to have you do this one by yourself. And I'm going to have you do this one by yourself. So set up your box and diamond. If you have a common term that you could take out, like you had in the 5x squared, please do that and go from there. So you'll notice all of these just say equals. They don't say anything after them. But what happens when they do say equals 0? I need to apply my zero product property that says if two factors multiply by 0, one or both of those factors have to be equal to 0. In other words, 0 times 0 equals 0. Basically, 0 has to be present in one of these. So the first thing I have to do is factor this. Oh, but wait, doesn't that look exactly like our first problem that we just did? And by the way, this first problem is the one under the hole. I wish I would have noticed that and told you that. So this is the one under the hole. But 2x plus 7x minus 4, what was our answer? 2x minus 1 times x plus 4. So we don't need to redo that. We're just going to start there. So we know that this is 2x minus 1 times x plus 4. But now we have equals 0. And so since we have equals 0, I need to go one step further, and I'm going to need to find the answer for this and the answer for this if those were to equal 0, because 0 times 0 equals 0. But what will make this 0? Well, 2x minus 1 equals 0. Solve that equation. And then also x plus 4 equals 0. Solve that equation and go from there. How am I going to solve that? What am I going to do first? Well, I'm going to add 1, of course. And I'm going to get 2x equals 1. What am I going to get the x by itself? Divide both sides by 2. And I get x equals 1/2. That's one of my solutions. What's my other solution? Could you calculate that? And then take our solution from the problem that we just did. 5, what was it? 5 times x plus 2 times x plus 2 equals 0. Since these are the same, how many answers do you think we're going to have? How many solutions will we have? Probably only one, because we're going to get the same solution for both of those. Find that solution. What is it? Find this solution. What is it? And you can check your answer on Schoology. When I am doing this problem, you will have factored this in the previous example, and then you're going to set that equal to 0. And then you're going to set each of these equal to 0 and find your solutions. Okay? Same thing with this one. Your answers are on Schoology, and you do have a couple of problems for more practice. So, x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals 0, and so on. First, remember to look, can I take anything out? Can I factor anything out of there? The greatest common factor? Nope. Can I take anything out of here? We got a 10 and a 10. Oh, but I can't divide 29 by 10. All right. Well, what about number 3? Can I take anything out of here? I sure can. I can take a 2 out. And then what are you going to get? And then factor that. Notice, this one is not equal to 0, so you only need to factor that. Don't find your solutions. And that's all, friends. Your answers are in Schoology. God bless.